Welcome everyone. We'll wait for a couple of minutes before we begin the webinar. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending upon where you are joining from. It's good to see a large audience participating in this particular webinar, where we are going to take you and help you empower for the next update of talent management. As many of you would be part of the last week's session of Core HR, but just to reiterate for the people who were not able to part of it, this is a brand new segment of Evosys Live, which is exclusively for the managed service customers. Under the inspiration of value-based delivery of Evosys, where we are trying to provide the better value for each transaction which you are having with Evosys. The AMS part has been rebranded as Application Enhancement Services, and the objective of our services is to help you realize the true potential of Oracle Cloud transformation. Quickly checking some of the house rule of the day. We encourage you to type in your queries at any point of time during the session, and we have a team who will be responding to that question so that your questions get clarified within the session. If there are any unanswered questions which are required to be answered, that will be sent across via email back to you. We want to make the session interactive, so there are certain polls which we have kept within the session. I appreciate if you can join or if you can participate into that particular polls so that we know what do you think about this session and what do you think about the update in general. All the polls, all the responses are anonymous in nature, so you need not to be worried. We are not taking any data, or we do not know who is doing which poll. The sessions and the presentation recording will be shared back to you in next 48 hours, as it has been said for the other part. Having said that, this is myself, Vikas Surani. I'm a senior global pre-sales with Evosys from last 10 years. I'm passionate about digital transformation, and one of the key aspects of cloud, which is a quarterly update, bringing new features, bringing new things every 3 months to you. So that is something which is close to my heart. I'll be the host for the session, and along with me, we have speaker Vishnupriya. Many of you would be in touch with Vishnupriya, who helps you realize the value which you have invested in Oracle Cloud, particularly in HCM area. She's having more than 10 experience in this subject as far as human capital management is concerned. As far as agenda is concerned, we're gonna keep it very crisp. We're gonna check what is our approach with regards to the updates and how we see what value it brings on the table for you as a customer. Then we'll be doing the analysis and we'll be sharing what are the key things, key takeaways we should have it from this quarterly update. What are the new features we should embrace to. We'll be putting our AMS capability and the offering at a last slide, that what are the various activities which we are doing as far as our services is concerned and what it means for you as a customer. If time permits, we'll open the lines for Q&A at the end. Otherwise, we'll be answering all the questions which are putting in chat window during the session. When it comes to the update, we have a 4-step approach. The first one is to do the analysis of the new feature, evaluate what are the features and prioritize that particular item and share back to you. Once that has been done, we would like to have this meeting between business and IT to collaborate and finalize that what are the items we want to carry forward for the next update into the production, so that it makes life easier for the business who are using the application and for the IT and the team who are managing the applications. Once that has been agreed, we have to do a regressive testing for that particular aspect which you want to bring on board. So that is the 3rd step. And the 4th one is the final one, where we do the production movement. So that is the launch, what we term it as. For the purpose of today's session, we are going to talk about the analysis and the new feature part for 20C as far as talent is concerned. How to read each summary slide. So we kept it very simple for you, easy to understand and easy to digest without having less technical features inside it. So at the header, you will see the new features which are introduced in the latest release. There will be a short description of the new feature, which you can see below to that. There will be business benefits. What is that key takeaway which you have for this particular feature as a business? This has been liked by majority all the customers to whom we are having this discussion. The impact analysis at different level. When you talk about the impact level is more with regards to the user. As a user, what is the impact for using this new feature? So that is the impact study. If it is low, it won't have a large scale impact, and you may do not want to go for a regressive testing. You may want to just check whether things are okay or not. But if it is high, you must do the regression testing to make sure that changes are not going to impact any other aspect. The second component is about need to enable. So as you would be aware, there are certain features which are enabled and default when it comes to the new release. But there are certain options which are opt-in in nature. So these are the information. If it is no, then it has been already enabled and ready to use. If it is yes, then you have to opt-in to use that particular feature. The third one is about the configuration. So if the configuration is required, so setup is needed for the new feature. If it is not required, it would be no. So you know that you do not require additional time and effort to do that configuration of particular new feature. The last and the best one, which I personally feel, it's a quick win. So whether you are able to get better value without doing a lot of hard work to get that feature up and running. So it's a minimal time for both the parties. And if it is no, it requires a significant amount of time and effort to make use of that features. Just a disclaimer, if the quick win is no, it doesn't mean that it is not good for your business. It may be the case that that is the best feature which you should have it. But quick win is just to segregate and tell you that by minimal effort, you can get the quick win to use this feature. So that is the definition you have to make understand of. Before I jump onto the next slide, what I would like to do is, for all the audience today present, I would like to understand what is the perceived value of Oracle quarterly update. Now, many of you would be coming from the on-premises world, and the upgrade was happening, let's say 3 years or up to 5 years. But when it comes to the Oracle Cloud, almost all the applications, when you talk about the cloud, are having quarterly or bi-yearly updates. Oracle has a scenario where the updates are coming quarterly in nature. So do you see as an overhead to overall business and the work which you do? Or do you really see this as a value addition so that it helps you to make good use of the system or the new feature which is coming in, and it makes your life easier? So if you can respond to that particular question, I will then share the results back to you, that as a group, how do we see this results coming in? And if we really feel this is an overhead at this point of time, what are the areas which we can support you to turn it from overhead to the value addition, so that the perceived value becomes impactful as an organization, and the Oracle quarterly updates, the new features which are coming in, we can embrace it in a better way. I can see more than 70% votes are being registered. So what I will do is I will close the poll right now, and I will share the results back to you. Out of all the members present today, there are 30% of people feeling this is an overhead, and it could be true depending upon what situation you are in and what area of work are you in. And there are 70% which thinks in a value addition. We as Evosys feel it's a value addition to the organization. Again, it depends upon the capacity of the team who is managing the updates, the way the new features are getting embraced. So that could be different scenarios, and we appreciate that with regards to the different business. But any which ways, if you'd like to understand more how it can be value addition and you can have less of an overhead with this quarterly updates, feel free to talk to your project managers, and we are more than happy to discuss with you that as an organization, what value addition we can provide back to you so that it becomes a value addition rather than the overhead. Thank you so much for the participation. It really helps us to enhance our services and provide you the right value of services what you subscribe from us. With that, I will hide the poll. And now I would like to pass on to Vishnupriya, who will take you to the new features and what is that you should take away after this session. Thank you. And over to you, Vishnupriya.
Thanks, Vikas. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. Before we actually jump on to the feature detail, I would just like to show quick numbers here. So under talent management, there are 51 new features. So when we say talent management, I just want to bifurcate a bit for you to understand. So it includes basic talent modules, advanced talent modules like talent review, career progression, succession management, all of that. Plus, it involves Learn module, Oracle Learn module, and ORC, which is Oracle Recruiting Cloud. So all of this put together is called as talent management, and we have 51 new features that we have for 20C. So among this, there are around 29 features which we have analyzed and feel that those are quick wins. So when I take you over the quick win features, I would also bifurcate it as per the module. So the bifurcation would be just with respect to talent, learn, and ORC, so that it doesn't confuse you and you know what feature you have to pick up. So the sections are bifurcated based on default features, opt-ins, and the rest, which means they are not quick wins basically. Then you have replaced or removed features, and then as there was a request from the previous webinar that we include OTBI enhancements, so I've included them. So if time permits, we would surely look into the OTBI enhancements as well. So moving on to the default one first. Again, bifurcated into two sections, one with configuration and other without configurations. So let's first look at the ones without any configuration, so which is like you don't have to do anything and the feature is a quick win for you. The first section would be on Oracle Talent Management. Okay, add development goal to employees. So as a manager, you may want to assign certain development goals. For example, improve time management skills. Now, this skill is something that you want to add for multiple employees and not just one person in your team. So now it's more easier by you can just go select the employees for whom you want to add the development goal, and then it will be added. So it's more easier now to assign development goals to employees. And the moment you assign the development goal, a notification is received by the employee. So even if there is a pending approval for a particular development goal, you can still add it to that particular employee. So this is surely a quick win. The next one is on questionnaires. So basically, when you create questions, as a single choice questions or multiple choice questions, you can assign a score to it. So basically, this score would help you to see how is the response on the questionnaire and then score multiple candidates. So until now, you were able to score only with less than 3 digits. So meaning the precision of the scoring was less. But now you can do it for more than 3 digits, which means that you would in turn have a higher score that you can compare between candidates or employees. The next feature is on talent ratings. So when you see the performance rating page, instead of just saying that there was a rating and this is the rating, now we also see what is the source of the rating. So the source would actually tell us from where this rating has come and what is the from and to date. So suppose if you don't have an end date, it's going to be blank. Otherwise, it is also going to show you what is the start date of that particular rating. So this is more to see all information in one place. So you look at the person, you look at the performance rating and see from where you've got the rating and from when and until when is this valid. The next feature is search and maintain pending worker profiles. So you all know that every employee has a profile page. So you create talent profiles based on that. And you would be able to use those talent profiles when you're doing any kind of a search over candidates. Now, you can also do the same thing for a pending worker person. So anybody who is expected to join, or you put them as pending worker, and you have created a profile for them, meaning you have added all the skills and qualifications, then you can see all that in the person spotlight. So the benefit basically is that if you want to assign a particular activity to a group of employee and you're doing a search, now you have a wider range of people coming into that search because pending worker employees are also included in them. So basically you have the authority to check that. So if you want, you would enable that checkbox in the My Working page so that you see the pending worker, or if you want to ignore them, you just leave the checkbox unchecked. Okay, this feature is more with respect to enabling you to maintain a soft copy of the talent profiles. So you can also print it, meaning have a hard copy, but if you want to also save that as a file in your system, these are the formats: PDF, RTF, Excel, or as an HTML file is what you can print or save the file. So what all you can print or take is all these features or all these items. So person summary, experiences, assignments, educations, behaviors, competencies, anything, you can choose to print or save it as a copy from all profiles page or as well. So in case if, so there is a new seeded report, which is available in this part. In case if you had personalized this report earlier, that's the only part you would have to do is to redo some changes to that report. But if you have not customized this report, then there's no action on you. One major point that we have to note that all the features that comes up in Talent are actually available only on the enhanced talent profile version. So it is mandatory that all customers move to enhanced talent profile by 20C. I think most of our customers are already on 20C, so this is not a point of concern. So, so from the talent profile page, this is in continuation with the previous feature where you can also choose behaviors that are associated to competencies when you want to print or report them. So it's all complete information in one place. Yeah, this is a wonderful feature, I would say. So this is about checking eligibility of a performance document. Until now, what was happening was, let's say there was some employee who was not attached a performance document. So basically, how do we identify the cause is that you go over the eligibility criteria that is defined in the system. You understand what is that criteria, then you go compare that, reference it with the employee data from the person management. So all of this activity is not required now. Under the performance document eligibility, you have a new check eligibility action. So what would that do is actually tell you why that person is not eligible. So under performance document eligibility, until now you were able to see only whether the person is eligible or not, but now you can also understand why that person is not eligible by just looking at that page. So you don't have to dig over multiple pages to get that information. So I think this is a 100% quick win where it saves a lot of your time to understand and correct the data as required. So the next section, there are a couple of features on learning and development. So there are conditional assessment questions and feedback in the offline mode. So what do we mean by that is, if I can just compare it with any internet activity that you do and download the content when you have network, and then you view that content post during the offline mode. So you don't have internet, but you still view those particular content. In a similar fashion, now you can also see the assessment questions and the feedback in an offline mode. So you can actually download that and look at that information. Improved self-service search. Again, this is, I think, also one of a very needed feature, because until now, whenever you were trying to search something on the the suggestions that would come up is basically an auto suggestion, and you have to choose from the auto suggestion. Whereas now the self-service search would actually work like how it works in any consumer site. So you put a text, and all the matching results for that particular keyword would come. Like, for example, in your Google search, you put a text and all matching search results come up. So that's how this particular self-service search is improved. The next one is on recruiting. So this is, just want to clarify, this is not Taleo, this is Oracle Recruiting Cloud. So In ORC now, you have the ability to see the requisition and candidate number in all the pages that you navigate. So it could be any requisition page, job requisition page, or any candidate page like job applications, or any page for that matter. You always see what's the candidate name and number, and if it's a requisition, you also see the requisition name and number. So this is actually more for ease of use, where you know what is the record that you're working on. So this is a very wanted feature as well. I think this was also a lapse in Taleo, but you have this in ORC now. Multiple seats per interview slot. So this is a quick win, because it actually tells you at a glance of how many interviews are scheduled, okay, and how many are left. So basically, when we are scheduling the interviews, let's assume that you have 5 interviewers who are available for a particular time slot. So let's say between 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., you have 5 interviewers who are ready to take interviews. So which actually means that you can have 5 candidates in that particular slot. So this would actually show that. So as and when a candidate tries to select a slot for interview, the number then reduces. So the moment I choose 10 to 11, then the number reduces from 5 to 4, and it would be visible only until the count goes to 0. One point that we have to note is that the candidate would obviously not know what is the total count. So if the slot is available, they would be able to see in the place where they can choose the slot. If the number is filled, then the slot is removed from the view of the candidate. So this basically, the benefit is that you can, have proper scheduling of interviews, and also you can see the name of the candidates who are going to attend. Now, let's say somebody withdraws their, interview slot, and they say they're not going to attend it. The number then increases, so that it's a real-time information that you see on the interview scheduling page, on the manage interview schedules page. So you know how many people are coming and who are there when you just click on that particular slot. So that closes the ones without any configuration. Let's go in quickly into the ones which are default but with configuration. So apparently we don't have anything from the talent module for this section. So it's directly into learning and development. Okay, this one is added communities to learning item contribution approval. So you can actually create communities. I'm not sure how many of you are actually using this. This is a wonderful feature where you can create small learning community. So basically, you can create a community for example, for new hires, okay, where you will recommend that these are your recommended learning contents that you should, have a look at. It could be documents or videos. So it's basically a small community that you would create and then assign new hires to that community. Now, whenever we create or edit such self-service communities, we now have the control of sending it for approvals. So it would trigger the same approval cycle as we have for any change in learning item contribution. So basically, you have no better control for all the processes that happens on the system. Yeah. The next one is the enhancement on the search again, but this is on the search of items like courses and offering tiles. So you all must have, you already must know that there is this process called optimize learning text indexes. So basically this process would actually enable you to optimize the results that you would get on when you search items like course or offering titles. Now you have an option to check this one, which is disable stop words. So what are stop words? Basically are words like and, or, and, the. So common words that we can actually ignore in a sentence when we are searching. So this would mean that you have better search results. So your search results score improves, and you have no unwanted information based on the stop words. So there is a very minimal configuration here where you just have to click on this checkbox, and then you have this at a greater optimized value. So that's about quick wins, which are defaults. Do we have any questions, Vikas, that we have to take?
Yeah, I was just about to say, Vishnu Priya, I guess the excitement for this particular thing is very, very high. That is the one observation which I can see from the audience interaction, and many people are appreciating the new features. I guess that is something which they're looking forward to. Apart from this, there are some couple of questions which they won't answer and which are not answered yet. So when we say ORC, is ORC synced to Google email? That is the question from Gwen.
ORC syncing to Gmail is not mentioned in any of the feature right now. I think we just have a sync to Adobe, if I remember, not to Gmail as of now.
Yeah, I can see the answer from, I guess, Brian, that it is working with Outlook as of now, but Google is something probably we can get that checked and revert back to you if that's okay, Gwen. But as of now, we don't see that in a document what we have received. The second one was about what do you mean by development goal? I tested this the other day and assigned an objective and it didn't go to the objective plan. That is from Tracy.
Okay. So there are two kinds of goals. I mean, it's going to take a bit longer. So there are performance goals and development goals. The development goals is from an organization perspective where you think that this particular goal is actually necessary for the development of the career of the person. So Tracy, I would suggest we can link in after the call to explain you much better on how it's linked to objectives, if that's fine.
Okay, and if time permits, Tracy, we may open the line and we can have conversation with regards to that aspect, if that's okay. And Gwen, I guess, hope you are able to find the chat window now, so you may raise your questions. And if time permits, we may open the line for you. You may raise your hand, and then we can have an open conversation at the end of Q&A. Having said that, Vishnupriya, you may want to continue now, and we can continue with the. Thank you.
Thank you. So let me move on to quick wins that are opt-ins. First, the talent management. Delete anytime feedback. Okay, this is a great control that the HR specialist would have now. So what happens is there is a feature where you can give feedback to anybody at any point in time. Now, what is the control that the HR specialist would have is to ensure that the feedback is right. So they have the authority to delete notes that for which they are authored, which means they are the owners of the notes. Plus, they can also delete notes which have the visibility option, of everyone or managers and manager and worker. So, what is the benefit of having this is that you ensure that there is right way of feedback that passes through. There is no derogatory or demotivating feedbacks that goes to employees. So it is more important that we keep the morale of the employee well while we give feedback. So this control now is given to the HR specialist where they can actually have, and if they see that there's something derogatory, they won't be able to modify it or change the text, but they would be able to delete them. Goal management, digital assistant support. So in other words, this is sometimes referred as chatbots. So until now, we had this digital assistant support for other modules of HCM. Now it's extended to goal management. So how is this going to be useful for me is you can quickly get answers like this. Who on my team doesn't have any goals? And then the bot is going to ask you, okay, could you please select the review period? And once you select the review period, it's going to give you the answer of how many people don't have any goals. So this is a very interactive mode where you can quickly find out answers to your key questions. The next one on learning and development is manager and learner pages are redesigned. So now it's learn is also on responsive UI. So it is now available and mandatory for all customers on, to move in 20C. So customers where we have learn and have not moved to responsive UI, this is a point of note for you where you would have to enable those options now and test them and move to responsive UI. The benefit basically is as such with respect to the other responsive UI. So you can use these pages without any lags on multiple devices with no great UI changes. Moving on to Oracle recruiting. Okay. Skip prospect candidate process. I think this is one of the feature which most of the recruiters would want to have. So basically, this feature actually helps you. Now you have identified a candidate who you think is perfect for this job application, but there is time that you have to wait for the candidate to set into the system, apply for the job, create the job application, and then you take them for the further process. Now with this new feature, what you can do is you can simply create the job application on behalf of the candidate. So this can be done by the recruiting user or the agents as well. You can skip the prospect candidate process and directly create job applications on behalf of them. So this would give a more efficient process for the recruiters, agents, and as well as candidates, because now the recruiters actually save time. They don't waste time for waiting for the candidates to respond. The next one is configuration of mandatory fields and application flows. So this is more from a control perspective of what data you mandatorily require. So there are certain information that you for sure need in order to do post processes in your recruitment cycle. So it could be under different sections like certifications or education or language. So now you can configure them, so the administrator can actually do that for you on the Transaction Design Studio and set what are the fields that are going to be mandatory. And this will be applicable for all flows. It could be apply flows or request information flows or any talent community flows. So you have more control now to ensure, especially this would be important if you have an interface that pulls out certain information from your Fusion system, and then you need this information for that interface. So it is even more required for such scenarios. Capture candidate data using multiple content sections. So this one, just to give a quick example, what do we mean by multiple content sections is we already captured information like what is your education or what is the work experience. But now you can also capture at multiple levels, meaning you can check if they have industry experience, industry related. So let's say you are into a healthcare industry. So you can actually say, okay, this is your total experience, but how much is your related experience to healthcare industry? So you get the specifics here, which can help the recruiters, when they search profile data across various sections. So this gives them better candidate list from where then they can proceed further to recruitment process. Configurable favicon, this would be a quick win for somebody who likes to see beautiful favicons or images coming up. So now you can start branding your career sites, external career sites. You can give your own favicons. So favicons are basically the small images that you see. For example, when you go to Google, you see G as a favicon. So you can actually put your own organization's favicon. So that gives a better experience when you look at the external site. Configure approval based on flex fields. So now you have a lot of flex fields. So you can have flex fields. So flex fields for people who are new to this terminology means that these are system configurable fields. So we can configure certain extra fields that you would want to capture information about. For example, if you want to capture more information about a job offer or about any requisition. So we can enable few fields there, and now you can route your approval based on these fields. So if for example, the requisition is X, you want to route it to a different hierarchy, and if it's Y, you want to route it to a different hierarchy. So this gives you better control of approval management, so you don't dump your approvals to unnecessary people. You push it to the right person who has the authority to approve that transaction. Candidates explain why they decline offers. So this is another, I would say, an important feature for any business that looks on improvements. So until now, there was no way that the candidate would be able to provide a comment on why they are declining the job offer. Maybe it was done outside the system, but now you can do it within Oracle, where you can capture what is the feedback when when a candidate is actually declining a job offer. So you can also create certain list of values. So maybe you can give reasons. Okay, so you can create reasons for let's say 3 or 4 reasons, like for example, not happy with the salary offered, or not happy with the job profile description, so something like that. And you also can leave a comment field where they can enter a descriptive comment on why have they declined this job offer. So why should I collect all this information? Because this would help you to enhance and identify where are you lagging and why you don't have candidates whom you think are worth being in your company, but they don't accept the offer. So that brings us to the end of all the quick wins. And because we have some more time, I think I will take you through the replaced or removed features first, and then the OTBI enhancements.
And while you get over here, just a point, I guess, Tracy, you have a question with regards to the additional questions you have when you went through the guide about the new features. What we're going to do is, I guess, we're going to have time at the end of the section, which is our Q&A. We would open the line for you so that we can have a direct conversation with our speaker. So that is what we can do. And if still there are open questions which require answered off, we can connect after this particular session so that you feel comfortable and you have the answers of what questions you have. Okay, hope that helps. Over to you, Vishnupriya.
Thanks, Vikas. So there's just one feature that's deprecated right now. So under the questionnaire setup, so this is with respect to talent and management, where you do setup for questionnaires for formatting options. So basically there were 3 items called page layout, maximum number of questions that you can have on per page, and whether this should be on a new page or not. So these 3 items are basically not available on the responsive UI, more so because it doesn't fit into that particular responsive page ID properly. So if you see, this would be your responsive page. I'm sorry, this is the classic page where you have these information, but on the responsive page, you won't have these. So we apparently don't have the screenshot of that, but these would be the deprecated fields, and it will be ignored in the responsive application pages. Before we move on to the closing note, I would just take 5 minutes quickly to talk about OTBI enhancements. The first enhancement is on the Learn module, where there is a new subject area called Workforce Learning, Learning Records Real Time. So earlier you had something called as Learning Management Real Time. Now that's getting replaced with a new subject area for Learning Records. But in case if you have to use this, you have to enable this first, and also you should be part of a testing program along with Oracle. So this is not a quick win because you need to spend at least 2-3 months with Oracle in order to see and test this and then have this enabled on your production. But if this is something that you already have on Learning Management Real Time, then I think you should focus on moving to Learning Records Real Time. Then there are descriptive flex fields, like how we spoke. There are now you can have reporting based on descriptive flex fields captured by referrers, employees, and agents. So there is a new attribute under job requisition, job referrals of recruiting subject area. And again, there are enhancements to the Oracle Search Archive adjustments reports, where you have new filters that you can use in your recruiting reports. So these are some filters, and these are some new attributes that are available. This is more for a technical information for somebody in the IT who's working with OTBI reports. And this is a pre-screening score. So now you already must have been using a pre-screening score, where you can override the scores of a particular questionnaire that is entered in the in the questionnaire. So now you can report based on what was the original value and what was the new value that you had given. So this is basically a report to get that comparison, and the subject area is mentioned. Similarly, there are changes under content library plane. So this is a new attribute that you can now report on under content library subject area. Personalized name for candidate selection. So as you see now, you can have you can rename actions and events in your candidate selection process. So this is for ORC. So you can now use these personalized names to actually create reports, and the subject area is mentioned below. So with this, we are done with what we intend to do in the session. I would recommend that you all please look at enhancements that are part of this session, but we have not covered because they are not actually quick wins. So that comes under the rest section. I would still suggest you go over them, and if you have questions, we can take it one-on-one through your project resources.
Yeah, thank you, Vishnupriya. And I guess the intention is to make sure that we are able to provide quick win at least to start with, and then there could be a separate discussion which you could have with our team, support team, and the project manager who are assigned to you. So if you may help me to go to the closing note part, Vishnupriya, then we can go to the Q&A part and close the session then after.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. So we covered the analysis part, and as we were discussing, there are 3 more steps which goes in. Now, depending upon the services which are subscribing for us, you might be taking that service. So if there are any additional thing which you would like to have from us, we are more than happy to discuss with you. So reach out to your project manager. As I was saying about the next generation cloud managed service, so this is what our aim is, and there are various activities which we are taking in consideration to help reach over there and provide better value to our customers. So not keeping the lights on, about not giving the reactive support, we want to give proactive support back to you and help you realize the investment what you make in the system as well as on Evosys. We want to also facilitate you with the value-based analytics. Now, many of the problems which we were talking about, on many of the things which could be done proactively, are not currently visible without a proper dashboard to you. And this is one of the effective area where we feel that it can help you to reach to the proactive. And there are certain sessions which are planning to help you achieve that value-based analytics proactive support part to you. So stay tuned. We'll be coming back to you with regards to what we are bringing on this. The third one was about self-sufficiency. So that is one of the area we help people to get connected with, and L1 team gets self-sufficient to at least resolve the issues which are quite common in nature. Last but not the least, the KPI-driven approach. So you'll be seeing that with each and every service request, there is a survey feedback which comes to you, which says that how was your experience with that particular ticket, and this is the combination of all the tickets globally, and we have providing an average, and we are happy to be in this score, and we would like to maintain this course and go above to this score. SLA is something very close to us, and we make sure that we are adhering to the SLAs which are there and committed to our customers. Third one is where the majority of the things which are doing is about value realization. What is that we can help you to realize the value out of your investment, how we can make ease of your work kind of thing. So that is something which you are working upon, and you will be seeing a lot of activities which are coming to your door on this. As a closing note, in next 48 hours, you'll be receiving all this item which you are referring along with the test script. So a couple of customers told us that test script is something they're liking, which they're getting over and above to the slides and the content. There will be a feedback form which help us to get better of doing the things. So you might not be able to get something at current stage, but that is something which we can always enhance for our upcoming webinars. For any queries, you may reach out to your project manager or business@Evosys Global as an email ID. Next today, so we are completing the third session, which is today on talent management part. Next we have on 22nd workforce management part, and then on July 23 payroll UK part. So these are the upcoming webinars. If you're not registered for it, you may want to register for it and be part of this one. Having said that, Evosys is here to help you, and it's always best to clear your doubt. So contact us and make sure that we are able to get better value of the partnership on the table. With that point, now I would request to raise your hand if there are any open questions, and then we may unmute you. So you may ask the questions to the speaker, and we can have a good conversation about that particular questions. I can see one hand has been raised. Tracy, I will unmute you. You are self-muted, so if you can unmute yourself, Tracy, from your side.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Hello,
obviously I'm not Tracy.
Okay.
It's
The name was impressive, that's why, sorry.
I know. It's Rob Thatcher. I'm in the same team. So yeah, I just wanted to go back to my earlier question, because you say there's performance goals and there's development goals, and the ability to create one objective or development objective and assign to a team. That's a really good function. But where do those goals go?
Okay, Rob, these
Yes.
development goals actually is something that you can see under career development. So you won't be able to see them under performance goal plans. It is under career development that you would see these development goals.
So under the objective plan, you mean?
Shri, could you just add on more if I've missed something here? It's under career development.
Yeah, so whatever you're talking about, the goal plan is a performance goal plan. So what Priya is talking about is whenever you just created any development goals, that's going to be under the
You're breaking up.
Yeah,
you're breaking up.
The line is breaking up. Yeah.
The line is
in
breaking.
case if it's okay, you may want to. Yeah.
Yeah. So Rob, the performance goals are different from development goals. Development goals is it won't be visible under your goal plans of performance. These are two different items.
I'm just wondering what the use of that function is then, because we obviously create objectives for the objective plan and then the development area.
Yeah, so this is actually in the advanced modules of talent. As I initially said, career development, succession planning, talent review, these are all advanced modules of talent modules. Right. So I think which we together can look how benefit it would be for your organization.
Okay. I just wanted to be clear, it wasn't going to affect the objective plans. That's cool. The other question, sorry, is about the changes to learners, the learner pages for managers and staff. Now, you've told us there's going to be significant changes and behavioural changes, but I haven't seen anything today that shows us what those changes are, just that it's happening.
Yeah, so this is the responsive UI like how you had for the other modules. So you're going to have responsive pages for manager and learner pages. So you won't.
Yeah, I get that, but I don't know what that is.
So there would be significant UI changes like how you saw in performance page, employee self-service pages, and person management pages, the core HR pages, like that. So this would be this UI. This is a UI change basically. It need not be a process change, or it would rather not be a process change. As Oracle says, it's just a UI change.
All right. Okay. I'm still not clear. Okay. Thank you.
Maybe I can explain to you, like if you had seen the classic page before, right, Rob? You've worked on the classic pages, and the UI changes on the responsive pages where you have the fields placed in a different manner so that it's more visible and appropriate even on a mobile device. So those same changes are going to be applied for manager and learner pages as well.
Okay, but what I'm saying is my idea of what the manager and team member learning page and area is that the same as yours, and it doesn't sound like they are. So I don't know, maybe we need a demonstration to us to see, because I want to be able, if we can have a big change here in 20C in terms of Oracle Learn, then I'd like to see what those changes are.
Yeah, sure. So we would be able to see those changes post our upgrade, which would be in the first week of August, Rob. So post that, we can have a session together.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And definitely this is one of the area. So at least we know that what is that which is coming up, which is going to have an impact to your users. And this could be an area where we can demonstrate for the part. Mr. Priya, thank you for attention to that part, and thank you more for the question for yourself as well as for the audience to know that information.
Okay, thanks.
If there any, thank you. If there are any more questions, you may please raise your hand. We will unmute you, similar to what we had the first question on, and we can have conversation with regards to any of your questions which you might have. There was one question, I guess it was from one of the users, that where you can get this information, which has been answered by our team, that Oracle Cloud Readiness material is something which you can always refer to. I guess that question is from Gargi. Gargi, again, I mean, this is one step ahead to that. We want to make sure that you are able to get the full detailed view of what is coming in, what is best for you. So you might go into the readiness, which has more detailing of it, but here we are trying to make sure that at least you are able to get the first look and what should be embraced upon from this particular session, and hope it is helping you. If you have any more questions, Gargi, I may unmute you in case if you want to have any questions. You may raise your hand, or if it's okay, you can just say okay, so that we know that we are able to respond to you. Yeah, thank you. You're self-muted, Gargi. You may want to unmute yourself in case if you would like to have a conversation, please.
Yeah, hi Vikas. So actually, I have also checked that. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you well, Gargi.
Yeah. So I'm saying that I have checked. I have already checked on readiness document, and on 20C, I'm not able to find that from where we can feedback means when an offer is created and candidate is declining, that we can provide the comments. It was not there,
Yeah.
so that is
Gargi, yes, Gargi, what you see currently is a theoretical approach. So what you see is just the document. Oracle does not release the instance with these features until the first week of the quarter. So which is like August for 20C. So post that, you would be able to actually navigate on the system and see those changes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gargi. Appreciate. I will down your hand. If there are any more questions, you may please raise your hand. Until that time, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to ask you one more question. Did you find this webinar to be useful? You may want to respond yes if it was helpful. You may also want to respond no, that many of the no's I can see over here, and that's for sure. I mean, you might be expecting some additional value which you can bring on the table, but that is why we are taking feedback, so that we can enhance and we can improve the experience what you get from this webinar, and you are able to get good content out of it which you can make use for yourself as well as for your organization. I'll wait for a couple of more seconds just to get the good view of the overall group. We have a large group of people present today, and it's always good to get a feedback from you. I'll close this with the 70%. So 82% is something they're liking, and it is good to head. Thank you so much. And bigger thank you for the people that we are not able to provide what you were looking for, or there is an area of improvement which we can have it. So that always help us to go to the next level. And thank you for sharing that particular aspect. If I rate one more part, there is a second question you would be seeing on your screen. That is about rate us with regards to the session. How was your overall experience? It may start with regards to the invitation, what you got, the project manager follow-up to make sure that you are in this webinar and you are able to get value out of it. It could be with regards to the audio and the video connection, or let's say as a speaker, we are able to provide a better experience to you. So if you found it good, you may start with 5 or 4. If it's like say below the average, then you want to go for let's say 2 or 1. 3 something that this is something at an average level. So these are the pointers where we put ourselves into and we rate ourselves. So it's always good to hear back from you. We can see 65% votes have been done. I'll wait for a couple of seconds just to make it 70%. That is the ratio which you are looking for. Yeah, I can see highest number of votes in this particular question. Thank you so much for that. And we can see around 70% of are at a above the average, which is 4 and 5. So thank you for sharing that particular feedback. And we can see around 30% feeling that there is an area of improvement, which is 3 and below 3. And we are working strongly and hardly to make sure that you get a better experience. There would be a qualitative feedback form which should be circulated to you along with the questions and along with the question response and the presentation and the recording. So appreciate if you can spend some time and provide us the feedback, or you may want to speak to your project manager if there is any specific feedback which you should take into the consideration. But over and above, we want to make sure that you have a better experience whenever you reach out to this webinar and whenever you have service from our side. Having said that, we are 4 minutes earlier to the plan vision, but thank you so much for joining and tuning in today. Have a great day ahead for rest of the day, and have a great week ahead. Thank you so much for joining here. Have a good day. Bye-bye.